So the theme is, I'm strengthening families for better communities. And I've already spoken to the panelists, so they understand this. So what we're going to do is ask a few questions and ask them to respond. But before we get to the question stage, I'm going to give each of them a brief moment to tell us and the audience and YouTube how they view, first of all, the theme, what it means to them, and just to speak generally. Take about a half a minute or a minute, just to talk to us about how you navigate this fathering thing in your communities. Starting off, Mr. McMahon.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And I just want to say this was a nice day for all fathers and also the mothers as well. But being a father, it's not just a get up and go kind of thing. Being a father, it's an everyday work. It's an everyday process. When you get up in the morning, in the evening, you say, me and a father no more. You understand? So being a father, it's an everyday process. It's a thing that you have to focus on and make sure that you have your head on straight. Because raising 5 kids, as you know, I'm a father of 5, and raising 5 kids, first of all, I raised the twins without a mother. I raised them from them 2.5 months old. And now, August coming, there will be 17-year-old. So, being a father, as I said, it's not just one day work. It's something that you have to be dedicated to 24/7. You understand? Something that you have to make sure that you have your head on straight. So, being a father, as I said, for me, it's an everyday work. Because me, as a father, to take care of 5 kids, I'm telling you, it's a struggle.
Let's hear from the father over here now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Leroy Smith. I'm a single dad of 2, a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old. I've been raising my daughter and my son since they were a toddler. And I tell you, it wasn't an easy task, especially when it comes to my daughter. You know, a father, people who can most man, you can't come here and all of that. And all of that I have to learn in the process of doing all of that. And, seeing her growing up into a nice teenager and thing, you have to, focus, have your head screw on. First of all, you have to put God in whatever you are doing. Once God is in the picture, everything will slide smooth and everything. Because at first, when the mother took off and leave, I was wondering how I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? Sometimes I even feel like giving up. But, when I step back and I check in myself and I know that I have to be focused because this is something. I never go with a father. My mother separated from my father from I was 4. I never see back my father until I leave high school. You understand? And my mom, she passed on 7 years ago. She grew up 5 of us without a father. And I told myself that whenever I have children, I will be always in my children's life, no matter what. So it's not an easy process, but with God before you, anyone can do it.
Wonderful. So we're here now from Mr. Crawford, the opening statements.
All right, greetings, everybody. So I'm a father of that beautiful 6-year-old that you saw breaking down in nervousness. She wanted to say so much more, but I think the persons with the papers kind of made her feel like she wasn't prepared, but I'm trying to get her to understand that her experience is right here. You understand? She never needed a paper. But I am very proud of her for actually going up there. Okay, Zaya, I'm proud of you, Mama. All right, you did do good. All right, so as it relates to the theme, can you please repeat the theme? Because it was an overview of the theme. strengthening families for better communities. This is a very important theme, right? Because we can see it in the data that families, the absence of together families is actually causing a depletion in children's behavior, right? We see wherein youths are pretty much out of control. I didn't say that these are mostly mothers raising kids, right? But I can guarantee you, if you look to the statistics, you will see that dual parent households actually make for better upbringing of children, you see? And from my personal experience, I've had my daughter for most of her life, right? She's 6 now. I would have had her about 4 years out of that 6, right? And I can promise you that there is a certain absence there. I believe that I do great as a father because I'm there for her neck to neck, right? But there is an absence there. You understand? And I can see it in her face some of the time, right? I also recognize that, you see, when it comes down to the little feminine traits of things that is needed for the proper nurturing, she needed that to be emulated, you understand, in front of her. And only her mother has that capability, you see, if and only if, you see. So strengthening fathers for better communities is very important, and I believe that we should start to try and reintegrate men into the homes, yeah? And let me use this platform to just say to persons who cannot see it, there is, I believe, it's an opinion, right? But it can be deemed as fact. I believe that fathers are not only, quote unquote, walking away because of the lack of importance placed on them, but I believe that there's a societal narrative, yeah, being portrayed for fathers to be removed from the home. We know that fathers are the stronghold in terms of security. So when the government tell you that you have to do something, yeah, a woman would be more likely wanting to protect a child or protect her child outside of her own powers. A father does that. You see? So when a woman is looking to, she wants, it's for her survival, you know. Yeah? When she looks to something for that protection, yeah, the father does it himself. Because all fathers here, I can just, in closing, I'm sorry.
No, you're not closing. You're not closing. We have several other questions to deal with.
Just to finish.
And you raised an interesting topic
right,
that I think is a can of worms and needs a lot more discussion.
Okay, just to finish.
But I want to make time for a few more questions. So
okay,
wrap that up. Let's go.
All I'm saying is, all fathers here, right? I know if duty calls for you to put your neck on the block, you will put yourself out there immediately without even thinking about it. Am I wrong or am I right?
Not even a second.
Okay.
Right, so no man, I have another. So thank you very much for your opening statements. Now we have a few questions and we have shortened the list that I want you guys to respond to. You don't have to if you don't want to respond to that particular question, but we're just going to get the ball rolling. But the first question is literally, there are many challenges facing families today, right? I want you to speak to your particular experience. What are some of those challenges you're facing, that your family is facing, and how have you dealt with those? So you could start.
Well, what I would say now, most of the challenges in a home today is basically financial aspect. You understand? And when facing a financial challenges, it brings on a lot of different challenges as well. You understand? When you as a father are a single parent then, faced with the challenges of not feeding your kids or not getting the bills paid on time, these are some of the things that bring down frustration on you as a father or as a parent. You understand? So
how do you deal with that?
Well, me, I'm a farmer / I go to market as well sometimes. So these are the things that I do. I even cut lawn.
Do what it takes.
Do what it takes.
Yeah.
You
So
understand?
financial, a big one. Same
So-
for you guys? Financial, let's hear from Mr.
Financially,
Smith.
financially, everyone's going to have a financial problem, especially as a single parent household, because on the first point, you have to find food, clothing, shelter, and so forth. And those basic necessities are expensive, especially food and clothing and shelter. Those are the most basic things a family can need.
How do you manage that particular problem in your family situation?
In my situation now, I know once I see my children, I'm not going to let them wanting for anything. Whatever I can provide, I provide it. But I try to let them know not to waste things. Not to waste things, and try to appreciate the little they have. Because today it might rain plenty, tomorrow might not rain. You know what I mean?
Mr. Crawford, and
I will keep it short.
you're going to address that particular concern about finances. But
Right.
if there are any other pressing challenges that your family faces in particular, and tell the rest of us how you deal with those.
All right,
kind of
so
situations.
finances is always a big deal for everybody because you're really charged with putting yourself last, you see. But for me personally, one of the challenge that I face with my daughter is helping her is emotional challenges, right? So helping her to literally manage her mind, yes, so she can actually see or understand what she's feeling in that particular time. You understand? Helping her to manage her anger and all those good stuff. So basically, and that would definitely work for if there was like, you know, another counterpart, you see, to assist in that area, right?
In the good old days, the village raised children.
Yeah.
That has
That's
changed
passed. Yeah,
now.
that has passed.
And so there are all kind of pitfalls out there in communities. How do you prepare your kids for a community where there are many negative challenges facing them? How do you prepare them for going out there in the community and staying safe, staying stable, be respectful? How do you prepare them for that?
Well, I always try to tell my daughters especially, beware of your surrounding at all times. Because some of the time, a person might come as if he's a nice guy, yeah? But at the end of the day, he's something else. Because there's a lot of predators out there. Not knowing who will be that predator, yeah? So I always try to tell them, beware of your surroundings. Your surrounding. Keep focus. Understand? Know who you talk with, who you go out with, all of these things. Because as I said, the predator, you're not going to know. It can be the person who you live next door to. You understand? It can be an uncle, a brother. You understand? So beware of your surrounding. Keep focus. Think before you act. Or say, for instance, you're going to take a taxi. Know the person that you are, and even if you know the person, you still can't know what is in his mind. You understand? So just beware of your surrounding.
It's not really so much of a society we have to be aware of right now, because, these children are in a different time from us. They don't go outside and play. They are mostly on the social media side. So
Good
first
point.
of all, you have to make them aware of these social media and tell them that not all people on these social media are friendly. There are predators on these social media platform who might hack into even your own parents' account and use your parents' account and trying to socialize and lure them.
How do you manage that though? Because they have such freedom. How do you manage that in your household?
All right, with my daughter and my son, I try to teach them about it, right? And try to let them not even to say have an account on Facebook until I know they reach the appropriate age.
Me check my daughter's phone all the while. Me check them phone, literally. Take them phone. Give me the password now. I'ma check it. Go right through the text messages, everything. That's how me do it.
You hear that, children?
And if I'm convinced of that.
Mr. Crawford, you want to jump in and weigh in on that?
How do I treat with the security in that aspect? Pretty much, I know I may not be here for, forever. Not that I'm experiencing any illness or anything, but reality is reality, and so I have to ensure that my daughter is able to navigate herself properly. She needs to be able to navigate herself on the mental level and also in her environment. And so the same tactic that my gentleman here, he employed by getting her to become aware of her surrounding, you see. One of the things that I've actually done recently is, because I am kind of hovering her as a father, I wanted to give her a chance to actually, go out on her own, so going to school is a long way. And I allowed her to walk, but I walked behind her. You know what I mean? So, yeah, there are other methods employed, but you get the idea.
Okay. So the next question, we're going to look at your approach to reprimand, punishment, whatnot. Now, children will test you. Mm-hmm. They will test you to see what they can get away with. Mm-hmm. How do you, in your particular home, deal with a kid who is unruly or throwing a tantrum or whatever? How do you approach that?
Well, for me, it's kind of challenging with that part, because 5 kids, and to implement that kind of rule on 5 kids, it's kind of hard. But anyway, we still try and get through, because my younger ones, the 5-year-old and my 8-year-old, if they're not listening, in a sense that I tell them that come off the tablet, put it down, and they're not listening, well, I take the tablet, I put you in a corner for 20 minutes where you can't move. You understand? So so you're sitting at the corner right there for 20 minutes and know that there's your little space until the time comes for you to move. Well, my older kids now, that's the 17-year-olds, because they are twins, and my 13-year-old, that's my son. Well, for implement rules on them, it's kind of a little bit different from the smaller ones. You understand? Which I still take away their gadgets as well from them. That mean if you disobey me in a sense that I tell you to do something and you don't do it, you get a week worth of your gadget gone. You understand? That means that for 1 week you don't have no phone, no tablet, nothing. You understand? I'm locked down the internet.
Yes.
You understand? So these are the things that I do as a father.
Okay.
To implement rules around my house.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Smith?
For my 2 children, whenever they are being misbehaving or disrespectful, what I do is I probably give them a month off the television, take away them tablet, probably for more than a month, because these children are in the technology. Once you take away the tablet, you know them going try to pull up them socks, because they need back that tablet. So they're going to definitely pull up them socks and behave better.
Fantastic. Mr. Crawford?
Right, I cannot take away Zaya's tablet for any too long, extended periods. But one of the methods that I've actually implemented is sending her to her bed. Sending her to her bed.
Oh, okay.
I realize that their attention span is very short, shorter than ours, my friend. And so sending her to her bed is one of the nightmares in the middle of the day. Yeah, with, of course, no technology, right? No TV, no tablet, you see? And you will get a better result, you see? So as she grows, you will see, I may have to change those methods because she may become comfortable in the bed. Huh?
Okay. Now, I want to touch on your involvement in their school, like PTA meetings and so on. And I also want you to wrap with what recommendation you would have for the rest of us and those who are tuned into this session. But I also want to give a chance to the audience who may have some questions for these fathers. If you do, you can come and use the mic if you have any questions. Anybody with any questions for our panelists? Our resource person who want to make any comments on what you've heard so far? No? No? Okay, so let's tell us about your involvement in PTA.
Well, Mr. Reid, as you know, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't that kind of person that involved in my kids' everyday activity at school. Because, as you know, Ms. Sanders, Ms. Sanders can confess that I'm one of the father that always show up at PTA meeting. Always there, because most of my kids, not the older ones, the youngest ones, all of those kids go through Alligator Pond School. So I'm one of the fathers that always show up. If not me, my spouse is one of the persons that show up if I cannot make it. Fantastic. So I make it a point of duty to always be there.
Mr. Smith, Father of the Year. Let's hear.
When it comes to PTA, it's definitely me. I've never missed a PTA meeting or any function or anything that is going on at school. Sometimes I even leave work just to be at school or take a day from work just to be at school. Once anything meeting or so forth is keeping in my work schedule, I make sure I talk to my supervisor and tell him that I won't be at work because I'm the only one that can represent my children in the school.
I am often at the school, so often. Repetition, redundancy, and all that stuff at the school. Yeah, most times I don't really make it to a PTA, but I'm very much fully aware of what's going on at the school because I'll just pop up at the school. And my daughter thinks that I'm there 24/7 watching her, you see.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Thank you for that. We have a questions from the audience. A comment before the question?
Doc and all the fathers in the house, happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
I must commend these three fathers. They have been doing well so far. But I know that we are getting away from corporal punishment. And none of these three fathers said they do any form of corporal punishment. And I'm sure there are fathers among us here who still do a little corporal punishment. You hear that? True, sir. And I'm saying to these fathers, I must commend you if you genuinely have not done this. But sometimes I'm telling you, from where I sit, some children are very much afraid of a little touch. And sometimes, because doctor will tell you where he's coming from, corporal punishment maybe is what caused him to be doctor today. And maybe is what caused me to be who I am today. So I am saying we cannot get away from this. I hear my father here saying yes, though he didn't say that. A little touch sometimes, and I see parents nodding their heads. One father over there tell me, he still do it. Because we know that this is what straightens them up sometimes. And I must commend those who
can sit your child down, you say something to them, and they are obedient to you. But my question is this. You are being very cooperative. You see to it that their education is taken care of. But how do you do this aspect of it, the church part, to ensure that they attend church, the devotional, the prayers in the home, as the young man rightly said? Because, you know, I remember as a student at UWI, I lectured geography, so my specialization was geography. And so we had a course, biogeography, very tough course. And when we had challenges with it, doctor, I go to class every day with my Bible. And when my girlfriend and myself begin that things was rough, we had to fall back on our Bible. And we find a religious group on campus, and we would go there, and that's where we get our fill, and God help us through those tough courses. What do you do to help your child to see that having a relationship with God, even knowing some scriptures for themselves, because this is why you send them to Sunday and Sabbath school. This to me is more important than the counsels that you can give them, because as our Father of the Year said, he know that it's difficult, but He cannot do it by himself. We need God in the mix. How do you all as fathers navigate this aspect to turn to God and to help your child to know that God is whom they are supposed to seek in times when they have challenges, especially girls at this time?
All right, so we're going to ask each of you to comment on that, and at the same time, just your final comment on recommendations you may have for us or those persons who are tuned into the program. So answer the question that was asked just now, and just give your recommendations to the rest of us, starting with right here.
Well, for me, on the religious topic, that madam, well, my kids attend church every Sunday. Every Sunday. Yeah. So 3 of them there, them can tell you, every Sunday they go to church. The church is very close by home, so it's a walking distance. So they have to attend church. Just to say, I'm a Christian. I go to church every Sunday as well. Understand? So they have to attend church. You understand? So the religious part of it wasn't a challenge because they know God. They have to know God. I was grown in a Christian home. So being grown in a Christian home, I remember I took sick one time and my mom, she said to me that she prayed that would all give our life to God. And I break down in tears on my sick bed. I would tell myself, say, today are the day when I'm going to change my life. And from that day, it took me a week to get baptized. And from I get baptized, that's it.
All right. Do you have any final, before we move on, do you have any final recommendations, suggestions for the fathers that are here and those who are tuned in on YouTube?
Well, for all the fathers out there that is tuning into social media world and who is here, I just want to say, love God, protect your child in every aspect that you can, yeah? And just be yourself, because being yourself helps to mold your child into who they will be in the future, tomorrow.
Okay. Mr. Smith?
When it comes to the church aspect of it, my children attend the Emmanuel Missionary Church, right? And I make sure that even when I'm going to work, because I work at the Manville Regional Hospital, even when I'm going to work, I make sure to tell them that you're going to church today. I don't leave the home and they are not going to church. I might not be a Christian, but every morning when I get up, I read a Bible, I read a scripture. Every morning when I get up.
Any recommendation or comments to the rest of us and people listening in?
For the fathers out there, just one thing I have to say to them is that when you have a child, that child is your responsibility until the day you die.
Thank you very much, brother. Well said.
All right, so my take on the church, Christianity is pretty much embedded in our Jamaican culture, and so personally, I don't really force my child. I allow her to make up her mind as to whether or not she wants to go to church, and you'd be surprised she's going to church almost every single Sunday with her grandmom. You see? Now, as it relates to, and I do believe that spirituality is a big part of raising your child, and so I personally pray, something that I used to take for granted, but I now personally pray with my daughter, every now and then, like 3 out of 5 at the times, you understand? Before she goes to her bed, before I tuck her in, after I tuck her in and all that little stuff, and after I read her a story, right? Now, and I teach her to pray. Yeah, so we don't pray for things, we give thanks. And that is what I teach her. Right?
Fantastic, fantastic,
Now,
fantastic.
How do we...
Any recommendations, suggestions for the rest of us?
Recommendations. For fathers, and what I'm about to say, most fathers already know that when it comes on to a caring father, you come last. Remember that you come last. Remember that you are the sacrificial lamb. And do not take it for granted, all those little things that I've mentioned, because that is what makes you a superhero.
Thank you very much for that. As we wrap, I want you to thank our 3 panelists, ladies and gentlemen. I think we've given you a small peek into how they navigate their families and their communities and so on. And I think we have learned something about them, and I think we're all the better for it. I want to thank the panelists sincerely for braving this, by the way, and not everybody wanted to be part of the panels, but I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves, sharing a little bit about yourselves and the way you do things to benefit the rest of us and those who are on YouTube. Thank you again copiously. Again, I want to thank the Manchester Peace Coalition for putting all this together and to entrust me with this business of moderating the session. And I also want to thank you, the audience, for your patience and participation to make this whole thing possible. So thank you again, gentlemen, and I'd like to hand over back now to our Master of Ceremonies.